I should be writing number 488, Thursday, March 26, 2020. Yes, still plague days.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hi there, welcome to I Should Be Writing, the podcast for wannabe fiction writers. I'm your host, Mer Lafferty, and yes, we are going to talk about writing this episode. It's hard, it really is. It's a difficult time for everybody, but as I'm learning through my emails, those of us who still have work need to actually do it. I mean, I've been doing stuff, it's hard to focus. It really is. Anyway, I hope everybody listening is well or recovering if you're not well. But let's talk about this stuff. I've talked about this before, and as you know, I'm notoriously bad at starting big things and not finishing them, but that doesn't stop me from trying something else. And that is, I'm going to be doing the Artist's Way journey again, and I'm inviting you to do it with me. I'm going to be doing Finding Water, The Art of Perseverance, which is a book she wrote, Julia Cameron wrote, for people who are kind of mid-career. If you don't know, The Artist's Way is a sort of creativity journey. This is take 3, and it has nothing to do with my recording situation. It has to do with my wanting to explain this well. I am going to be restarting an Artist's Way journey. I've done this before. I've done it from start to completion once, and I've gotten several of the other books in the Artist's Way series, but never gone from beginning to end. Tried it, never actually succeeded. It takes some work and perseverance, but it's useful. I found it very useful when I did it at the beginning of my career. If you don't know, the Artist's Way is sort of a spiritual creativity journey. It helps you look into your past and how you think of yourself and how you thought of yourself, and anybody who may have, on purpose or not on purpose, held you back, and how you may have internalized those experiences to mean this is something I should or should not do. It's a lot of what I do on this podcast, only it's more structured. The small caveat I have is it talks about God, and I know a lot of people who've tried the Artist's Way and been turned off by that aspect. And I'm not religious either, but I move on because she tries to encourage you to take the widest view of that word as you can, if that makes you more comfortable. So when she says you open yourself up creatively, God will put things in your path, kind of like, it's not quite like The Secret or whatever that one is. I more think of it as, if I'm feeling blocked creatively, the metaphor I use is I'm walking around with my head down, but when I work on the Artist's Way stuff, it helps me put my head up to see things that were probably already there, I just didn't see them. I'm speaking metaphorically, of course. But I will say that I did the Artist's Way early in my career, and it really helped me start podcasting and writing. I'm going to be doing Finding Water, which is a book she wrote for more mid-career authors. Or rather, creative people. She covers everybody from dance to artists to composers and writers and all that stuff. So the first book is called The Artist's Way. The second book... Actually, I'm not sure what the second book is called. There's Finding Gold, Finding Water... No, The Vein of Gold, Finding Water, and Walking in the World. But one thing she does is kind of the cornerstone of her system is she calls them morning pages, which is journaling first thing in the morning for 3 pages. It's a brain dump of your dreams, your hopes and fears, whiny, I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything today. It's just a brain dump. And it's hard. That's possibly one of the hardest things I find in it, which is doing the discipline of doing the journaling every morning. But yesterday I was flipping through Finding Water and something in the first chapter hit me, and it hit me hard. And so I thought, I need to start doing this. And I had been journaling a little bit just to talk about all the stuff going on in the world. So it's not been too much of a stretch to actually try to read this book and get something out of it. I'll probably be talking about this once a week because it's a weekly thing. You do one chapter a week. And a lot of it is introspection. Some of it is writing exercises. And it's not writing exercises like it's writing prompts. It's more looking in your past and seeing who may have told you you can't do that creative thing you want to do, and maybe acknowledging that. I'll give you an example of the Finding Water thing. For example, she says, most of us have something we know we wish to do but find ourselves procrastinating about. For me, it was piano. She's a writer. She's written musicals as well, but the piano was the big creative step in her adulthood. And so, write about your deferred dream, choose something enticing about it, on which you're procrastinating. So it's that kind of thing. I always feel weird suggesting this because I'm not a very spiritual person. I'm not a very religious person. But all I can tell you is I walked into this with a dose of cynicism, but willing to try it, and it did a lot for me. The other two things she says is part of the system is an artist date, which you go out alone and you try to experience something creative. And again, example is wide. All the examples are just varied. You could shop at a craft store, you could walk through gardens, you could go see a movie by yourself. And I think we're going to hold off on the artist dates just because, I don't know about you, but I'm supposed to stay in my house. I can walk around my neighborhood, but that's going to be a really lame artist date week after week. So we'll hold off on that. And then the third thing is walking. You're supposed to walk, and which everyone says if you feel creatively blocked, you should just take a walk. So it's a weekly walk. I'm walking daily now, so that's not going to be a huge stretch for me. So those are the three cornerstones of her program, and then you read each chapter. But I want to talk about what I read that just really hit me yesterday. And it really hits me right now because of the COVID-19 crisis. She says, as an artist, I must take the time to see. My artist's eye must be schooled in the particular. It is not healthy for me as an artist to be turned to the inner movie, always watching the what if only I had, as they unspool in the inner screen. What if I'd kept my ranch in New Mexico? If only I still had my horses. What if and if only are poison for any artist. They throw us into the past, they dull our lens in the passing world, and it is in the passing world that inspiration lies in wait for us. For an artist to be vital, for the work to hold up, there must be primacy given to the here and now. I know this, but lately must work to practice it. If I live in the then instead of the now, the art dries up. My writing loses its snap and vigor, it becomes vague and generic. I do not see the bucket of jonquils flaring like struck gold through the wet city night. And when I read that yesterday, it really, really hit me. Because right now we're dealing in a huge time of what if and if only. There are people who have books that came out during this time, and everyone's focusing more on the current events rather than book buying. And, they're thinking, what if my book had come out when there wasn't a global crisis pandemic? If only my book hadn't come out. And other books are being pushed back. I was very excited for the book Harrow the Ninth, and that was going to come out in June, and now it's pushed to August. And that's just me as a consumer. I don't know what the author's thinking. What if only. And I realize I'm still stuck on my book, and I thought, I gotta stop thinking the what if and if only, and I gotta get to work. And I see it as, I don't swear on this podcast, so a friend of mine suggested I call this, you're being served a poop po' boy. There's another alliterative phrase that most people use. You wish you'd been served something else, but you're not. There was a comic called Red Meat several years ago, and I had one guy, as my mom always said, if life gives you poop, make poop juice. And this is, it's awful. I don't want to drink poop juice. I don't want to eat a poop po' boy. But that's what we're being served right now. And we could think, I wish I had steak. I wish I had lemonade. I wish I had lemons. But we don't. And so currently the world is being served a big old glass of poop juice. And we gotta accept it. I'm not going to take the metaphor of actually drinking it, but I'm just saying that this is what we're served. And we can't wish for anything else because it's not coming. It's not coming right now. Hopefully it'll come in the future. We can think about the future. But don't think about the past. If you lost your job, don't think about what you could have done differently because, hell, in this economy, it's probably nothing. And I'm not saying don't learn a lesson. I'm just saying dwelling on that gets you nowhere. And so after reading this chapter, after reading this page, I realized I needed to focus more on the artist's way. So I'm going to be doing that. So since I'm doing Finding Water, and I assume many people listening are beginners, because that's who this podcast is for, although anybody who listens is welcome, of course, I recommend the artist's way. But I can still talk about what I'm learning, how my morning pages are going, how my walks are going, and see if me talking about that can encourage you to work on it. The Artist's Way is available via ebook. I guess that's what I'm going to recommend you get because there is no guarantee that you'll be able to order it online and have it delivered anytime soon. If you have a local bookstore, my local bookstore is not open, but you can order online and go by and pick it up at the curb, which is what I'm going to be doing today. Maybe check if they have. If your bookstore's doing the same thing, maybe check if they have it. Otherwise, I recommend the ebook. I think it exists. I know the audiobooks exist, so the ebook should exist. And would like to keep going. And there's the dog. She's looking for me. She found me. Okay, is it time to stop? I guess it is. The dog says it's time to stop. Actually, I think she was just wondering where I was. Anyway, if you have any questions about The Artist's Way or anything else in writing, ask me at mightymur@gmail.com, and you can see the blog and show notes at murverse.com. And if you want to enter the Discord, where I'm going to be making a special channel just for the Artist's Way discussion, you can get to it by joining the Patreon at patreon.com/mightymur. And joining at $1 a month is all you need to do to get the whole I Should Be Writing archives and access to the Discord. And just to add, I understand that things are terrible right now, and if you are feeling the pinch of the current economy, I do not begrudge you at all not supporting or supporting at a lower level or whatever. It's a hard time for everybody, and I understand that. If you can support, I appreciate it. If you can't, that's cool. Keep listening. It's a free podcast. Maybe you'll buy one of my books in the future. But anyway, thanks for listening. I'll see you tomorrow. Check out The Artist's Way, and you should be writing. Remember, you can support the show at patreon.com/mightymur. I Should Be Writing theme music provided by John Anelio. You can find more about him at johnanelio.com. This podcast is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license.